Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We are excited to have you here. As you enter, get comfortable in your seats, grab a drink if you need one. Don't go too far, though. Yeah, definitely don't go too far. Say hello in the chat. The chat is at the bottom. We'd love to know where you are tuning in from. Share with us how you're feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like you can't even contain yourself in your seat. And 1, we know none of you are feeling a 1. And even if you were, by the end of this, Rochel is going to make you feel like 100. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. Just get y'all comfortable and seated. Well, probably seated. That would be weird. Hey, Karen from not so sunny Florida. Debby here in LA. I'm in LA. Where are you, Rochelle?
I'm in San Antonio right now.
San Antonio.
I hear Florida's really bad flooding.
Yeah, I was just there last week.
I hope you're safe, Karen.
Yeah, sending all kind of good energy down there.
Hey, Jan from Southern Delaware. Oh, it's beautiful there. We are gray and cloudy here in LA, but we are here to bring the sunshine. So right now. So all good. All good. All right. Just about another minute or so and get you guys ready and raring to go with Rochel. All right. And this is all going to be recorded. So everyone is going to get a copy of this. We're excited that you took the time to be here with us. Scale of 1 to 10. How are you feeling? Are you excited for today's? I was going to say show because it always feels like a show with us. Today's presentation. Awesome. All right. 10. Awesome. That's good. Energies have lifted. We're feeling good. All right. Should we get started and people join, or you want me to wait another minute, Debby? What do you think?
I think we wait just like 1 more minute before we get moving.
For sure. Jan's looking forward to this. Awesome.
Well, Jan, you're going to be feeling a 10 after we're done.
Let us know how in the comments. Let us know how you heard about today's events. Would love to know what brought you here. And that way we can also deliver exactly what it is that you need. Although we know you already will get what you came here for. But that's a law of attraction. All right.
Some people still joining in, I see.
Yeah, we got it. Email, LaShonda. Awesome. Email. Oh, great. Thanks for opening them. We know there's so much stuff happening in the world and in everybody's inboxes. So we genuinely appreciate, you giving us your time. So we know that we will serve you today. And we know that you will walk away with more joy and purpose-filled. I think we should get going. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, an official welcome to everybody to Finding Your Purpose, Finding Your Joy. We are thrilled to have you here today and even more excited to bring on today's guest in just a moment. But first, let me tell you who this smiling face is. My name is Shari, Alyse, and I am the Joy Reporter for the Art and Science of Joy, the Year of Joy, which is why you're all invited here. You are part of our bigger movement, which our co-creator, Debby, will talk about in just a moment. I'm also a best-selling author. I'm a TEDx speaker. I'm all of the things. And my mission is to help spread joy around the world. And so thank you again for being here. We'd love to know if you just arrived, where you are tuning in from. And without further ado, I am going to introduce you to one of the co-creators of A Year of Joy, along with Andrew Cannon, who is not here, but is representing, it's the middle of the night for him over in Finland. So, but he's here with us in spirit, but I'd love for you to meet Debby Schlesinger-Hellman, the other co-creator of this amazing, amazing movement. Hi, Debby.
Hi, Shari, and thanks so much for that warm introduction. It's wonderful to have you all here, and we're thrilled to be able to offer, again, a new live event. I just wanted to take a couple moments to speak a little bit about the Year of Joy, as I'm not sure that everyone here is a member or who has signed up to be on the Year of Joy, which, by the way, is a free online community. We developed this, Andrew and myself, and as Shari had mentioned, Andrew lives in Finland, the happiest country in the world. So we got some joy happening over there. Andrew and I have been working on this for about 4 years, trying to find a way to bring more joy to the world, sort of bring the light and the positive vibes that are so missing from so many of us, right? The world is sitting in a sort of fearful, negative space, but there is just as much joy, hope, and good vibe energy happening that we're just not aware of. So here we are, developing a Year of Joy for all for free, so that you are able to build your joy muscle. I'm building mine. So there's never enough joy. You can always look for some more. So what we would love you to do is join our Year of Joy. And I know Shari's going to put that right in the link in the chat box, the link to join. It is a free online community with like-spirited people who are also looking to build more joy. There's information, education, tools, and tips every week. We have a new joy expert, just like Rochel Marie is here tonight. She's one of our joy experts. And each of those joy experts also offering their time for free to build joy in this world, are giving us a little bit of what they are an expert at. Could be gratitude, purpose, as we're going to hear today, could be about exercise or music. It could be about all of those things that bring us and help to deliver joy. So we're hoping that you'll all join us and join this community that is growing every single day. It should be a wonderful year, and it's never too late to join in. So with that said, I would love to introduce our speaker for tonight, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. That right away grabs me. Rochel Marie Lawson is a successful business owner, registered nurse, Ayurvedic, and I know I didn't say that right, health practitioner, dream lifestyle transformation facilitator, and author. Rochel Marie is a speaker and radio show hostess and founder and president of Blissful Living for You, which was founded to bring wellness, wisdom, and wealth into the lives of individuals seeking a holistic path to living the life of their dreams. Sign me up. Rochel Marie has been named one of the top 50 women-owned businesses in Silicon Valley and the creator of the Brave, Bold, Unstoppable Women's Summit. So please help me in welcoming Ray.
Well, thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much. Wow. It seems like that person you just read about is absolutely fabulous. But thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to share my wisdom or my insight about finding your purpose and living your life with joy. When you're able to find your purpose, your life becomes so much more joyful because you wake up every single day living a happily peaceful, peace-filled life because you don't have anything to do but to live your purpose and allow that joy to flow into your life. So I'm going to just bring up, I'm going to share my screen, or I'm going to attempt to share my screen, and then I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint presentation. And just so you know a little bit more about me, I am a multi-business owner, and my first business I started was in 1989, and it's a telecommunications installation company that I still have today. And the beautiful thing about being a woman that's a trendsetter, once you find your purpose, like I said, everything in life just ebbs and flows, and you don't stumble around trying to fulfill the purposes of others that may be in your life. So basically, that goes with a lot about what I do. I'm not only a phenomenal, fabulous business owner, multi-business owner, but I'm very passionate about our health and well-being. And I think one of the most traumatizing things for me that I saw when I was doing my emergency room trauma nursing, working at night with a bunch of guys and just me, was that a lot of people that came in with health and well-being challenges were not living a joyful life. And they were not living a joyful life because they weren't living a life filled with their purpose. And oftentimes they were fulfilling someone else's purpose, which was not really ebbing and flowing with what they wanted to do in life. So there was this conflict. And when you have internal conflict within your mind, whatever is in your mind emanates down into your body, and it begins to manifest or show up in our body as different ailments, such as rapid heart rate or problems with your digestion, or, your immune system might get out of whack, or allergies, or a whole bunch of diabetes. If you're diabetic, your diabetes will inevitably get out of whack. And so this affects a lot of areas of our life when we're not really living our purpose, when we're not really fulfilling our purpose. And when we're not able to do that, we can't actually live a life of joy. So because I'm so passionate about health and well-being, I know it's our greatest asset. I feel that it's imperative for me to share with you all the joy in finding and living your purpose. And the first thing I want to say with that is, as we travel down our path to bliss, as I like to say, blissful living for sure, but as we travel down our path to bliss, our aspects or our purpose may be something different at each different steps in our life. For instance, when I was young, my purpose was to create, build, and command a business empire. And I always had that vision when I was a little girl. That's what kept me going. I used to say I was a queen in training, and one day I was going to grow up and be like Cleopatra and just rule an empire. That was something that drove me. But as I traveled down my path, there were different things that I had to do, different positions, different jobs that I held that allowed me to get to this point where I am today, to know that all of that pre-training on my path and all those different aspects of my life where I thought, or at that moment believed I was living my purpose, led me to this moment today to share that with you. So there's no judgment as you go down your purpose in life or your path in life, because whatever it is at that moment in time that you're doing that fills your heart with joy and makes you happy to wake up to. You don't wake up saying, oh God, you wake up saying, oh God, I'm excited, because you're actually doing something that brings warmth and healing and harmonizing energy within your body. So don't judge yourself too hardly if you think, well, gosh, I really want to do this, but I'm doing this right now, because you may be really good at what you're doing right now, and that's your purpose. But just know that as we evolve down our path to bliss, our life ebbs and flows, and nothing comes into our life until we're ready for it. So the joy in finding and living your purpose is a continual journey. I've had patients that were elderly, I want to say in their late 80s and 90s. And when I asked the ladies about how they were able to sustain the longevity, because they always look so youthful, even though they may have been having a serious medical condition at that time, they always look so youthful. One lady who was 94 told me, you never stop learning and you never stop experiencing life, because at every stage of life, there's orgasmic energy that allows you to live with your heart and soul. And I thought, wow, she said that word orgasmic, but orgasmic is the most beautiful essence. Without that, life for humans is not created. Somebody has to experience that for things to start the life in motion. And so I thought that was just such a beautiful, beautiful way to look at how we ebb and flow down our path. So let me tell you, I hope you guys can see the presentation. So the topic of this presentation, of course, is the joy in finding and living your purpose. I'm going to share with you my specific definition of purpose, and then my definition as to how it is in my mind for joy. Now, yours might be a little different. It doesn't make it wrong. It's just how we feel those words resonate within us, and the kind of feelings that we want to seek when we say those words or look at those words is we want to have that orgasmic feeling within our whole body, where our whole body is just screaming inside like, yes, I'm so happy. Because in that moment in time, you will be balanced and you will circumvent illness and disease and chaos to stay out of your life and to stay out of your body, and to really fulfill that happy feeling of peace, love, and joy within your mind, which transcends, of course, down into your body. I want to share with you why it's important to find your purpose, and 7 keys to finding your purpose. People get kind of twisted a little bit about finding their purpose. And I want to talk about some things that I experienced, as well as others that I know, when it came to really finding our purpose. I want to also share with you your purpose evolves with your journey of life, as I kind of just went into a little bit, gave you a little teaser. And then finding plus living your joy equals finding plus living your purpose equals joy. And then how you can use this to nourish your soul, live your purpose, and be filled with joy every day of your life. So if you're ready, I'm just going to jump right in. So the joy in finding and living your purpose is actually what we were created for. Everybody on this planet has a purpose, and not all of our purposes are, I want to say, happy, because there are some people that are put here to specifically help others to step in their purpose. There was a movie back in the day, was one of Chris Rock's, one of his first movies. And he got killed at a young age, and he was reincarnated as this white guy, but he still had all the memories and stuff of him as being this younger Black gentleman that was just kind of ebbing and flowing in life. And during the course of the movie, as he's living this life, or being inside this older white gentleman, he's learning a lot about his journey in life. And at every moment that something, I want to say, pivotal happened in his life, there was a lesson behind that. And finally, at the end of the movie, he realizes that he had to die in order for this gentleman who he, quote unquote, was reincarnated in, to be able to step in to live in his purpose. So his actual purpose was for him to live and die so that his spirit could be transcended into another person that really helped him to step into finding and living their purpose and having a joyful life. It was just a really cool movie. Of course, it was a comedy and all that, only like Chris Rock could do back in the day. But it really, really is a true example of what happens when you find your purpose and you're able to actually step into living it and understanding it. Like I said, we all are created and we all have a purpose. And it's what you decide to do in that moment in time, whether you accept what your purpose is or you don't accept it, that decides which way you go on your path to bliss. To the left, to the right, do you have to go over a boulder, under a big rock, or, whatever it is. And so one of the things I want to share also with you with regards to the joy in finding and living your purpose is you become free of expectations. And I'll talk a little bit more about this, but imagine living a life, and I want y'all to go all the way back to when you were a little kid. When we're little kids, we have no expectation of life. We just ebb and flow. We wake up, we want to play, and I'm going to say this is before you start going to traditional school or traditional education. We just wake up, we have this vivid imagination, and, it's kind of like back in my day, we used to watch The Wonderful World of Disney on Sundays. I'm really dating myself, but those stories and those movies and those cartoons always had a very happy ending. And for us as little kids, that's all we see. It's not until we start going to school and we get our formalized educational training that our vision of impossibilities in our life of being joyful become very limited. And the longer we're in school, the more limited they become. And what often happens is children will think that they're doing something because they love it, but really It's been expectations that has been put upon them for something that their parents wanted them to do, something that their parents wish they could have did when they were kids. So they're like actually living their life through their children. And it gets to a point in time, and I want to say almost everyone experiences this, but it gets to a point in time as you begin to age, so to speak, decade by decade, that you begin to realize that, you know what? I really didn't want to, be a journalist. I really wanted to design radios, or okay, I'm dating myself, but I really wanted to design apps that allowed music to be streamed all over the world. Or I really didn't want to, be a college professor. I really just loved being a mechanic and tinkering with cars. I just was programmed that I needed to go to school, get a good education, get a good job, stay in that job until it's time to retire. And who has time to ever go out and try to explore or find what their purpose is so that they can live with joy? So a lot of times, an epiphany comes, and I want to say it usually occurs somewhere between the third and fourth decade of our life, where we realize that if we stop living by other people's expectations and do what we really feel that we want to do at that moment of time in our heart and soul, that we release all that baggage that we've been carrying for years, and we feel lifted, and our heart chakra opens up, and we're able to receive the light of the divine. And that light fills us with joy, because also within that light, we discover aspects of our purpose. And I always say that if you're at that moment in time where you're having an epiphany and you're wondering about what you're doing in your life right now, and is it your purpose, it could be part of something that leads to a bigger and better purpose for you. So having no expectations and going about living your life for you is one of the very, very beautiful things, and one of the very reasons why we should be striving and teaching our children to live a life with joy, to feel their purpose, to find what their purpose is, and to explore what makes them feel good, and that elevates their heart and soul and allows them to have that, well, I don't want children to have orgasmic feelings, but that allows them to have that feeling of ecstasy, like being in the toy store and having the opportunity to buy every toy they want, whatever their hearts desire. That brings joy to children. So wanted to share that with you guys, with you all as well. So my definition of purpose is finding something that you would do that brings joy to your inner self, and that fills you with, again, this feeling of exuberance that you would do if you didn't, even if you didn't get paid for it. Even if you didn't get paid for it. One of the things I love to do is I love to write. Now, I'm a multiple best-selling author, a two-time international best-selling author, and I actually in the process of having another book released, as well as in the process of writing. I like to write. So if I could do anything, one of the things I really do like to do is I like to write. And if someone knows me, or if you guys know me or know about me or have been with me, I'm always writing. I always carry a journal. I'm always writing, because to me, the essence of living life, I like to capture in my words. And so one of the things that I've always been told since I was a kid in school was that I was a really good writer. In fact, one of my college professors even told me that I was a good writer, and I could definitely grow up and become a best-selling author if I just learned to fine-tune my E's and I's and they's and that's and effects and effects. That she no doubtedly saw me being a writer. And even I've had jobs and positions where they like the way I write, and I just did it because it really allows me to be expressive. And as you can see, I'm kind of an expressive girl, but that's one of the things I love to do. And it's part of my purpose. It's not my purpose, but it's part of my purpose that makes up the whole. So the other thing I like to say about with regard to the definition of purpose is it's a recipe. It can be a recipe that is a combination of many wonderful things. Like I like to write, I like to speak, I like to run my business, I like to do things that push the limits to expand my business. I like to be a little competitive because I'm a girl that grew up in a family of boys on both sides. I was the only granddaughter, so I like to be a little bit competitive, but I also like to make people feel ecstatic, and I love to see someone feel be filled with joy and have a beautiful heartfelt laugh or smile on their face just because of something I said or something I shared with them, or just because we are in our presence together. So your purpose can be a combination of things. And again, remember I said that as we travel down our path to bliss, we pick up little aspects of our purpose. And then there becomes a point in time when all those little aspects form that beautiful little what's one of my favorite desserts, that beautiful creme brulee or that beautiful rum pound cake with all those essence and all those yummy goodies that make such a tasty pound cake, and also will make such a beautiful experience of you living with your purpose and being able to fulfill and bring more joy into your life. Now, my definition of joy is, again, I like to use the phrases of ecstasy and orgasmic feelings, because I think those are some of the highest energies that exist within us. And we don't often have control of the ecstasy moments. Sometimes it just comes from the bottom of our chakras and works its way all the way up to the seventh chakras, and then it's up here and you just have this big glow, and you can't always recognize it, but other people will see when you're in that moment of ecstasy. I want to say basketball analogy. You know, I'm a sports fan, and of course I'm from San Francisco Bay Area, so I've got to love the Golden State Warriors and all the other sports teams there. But when Stephen Curry steps behind that 3-point line and releases that ball, he is in a state of ecstasy, because each time he releases that ball, he knows without a doubt that the majority of his shots, no matter where he is from behind the 3-point line, are going to go in. And because when he releases the ball and he's in that moment of ecstasy and joy, it shows in what he does, it shows how he looks, it shows in how he lives his life. So he finds joy in playing basketball and being able to do what he does on the court, so phenomenal things on the court, and that brings him a feeling of ecstasy. Another one might be, another one might be seeing the birth of a baby. If you have never witnessed a live birth of a baby, and I'm not talking about you having your own baby, I'm talking about you watching somebody else have a baby. It's not even your baby, but it brings to see that process and to see this beautiful little infant come out and is filled with life, and there's no expectations, and they're happy, or they may be crying, but whatever. To see that infant go from not living on its own per se to being able to take that first breath and begin their life is such a beautiful, joyful experience. So those are things that I say that contain the definition of joy. It could be simply just going outside and taking a walk in nature that brings joy and uplifts your spirits. Anything that uplifts your spirits and allows you to be in a state of harmony, balance, and ecstasy within your chakra system and within your mind and body and soul is what I call joy. Now, why it's important to find your purpose. As I shared earlier, we are all here and we all have a purpose. And the importance of finding your purpose is because we're here and that's what we're meant to do. A lot of people go through life and they're on a continual search for their purpose. They're always seeking and believing they're never finding. But in essence, they're always finding, and they're not ever really seeking. It's just that they forget to enjoy the moments where they've actually stepped into living their purpose, where they actually are surrounded with living their purpose, that leaves them to believing that they don't have, or they cannot find their purpose, or they don't know what their purpose is. the importance for finding your purpose is because not only does it feed and nourish your mind, body, and soul and your spirit, but it's your job. It really is your job. The divine has brought you here. You have a specific job, believe it or not. I don't care who you are, where you are. The president has a job. You know, the person cleaning the streets has a job. And not meaning necessarily that their job is their purpose, but they're in that specific capacity for a reason. And part of the reason is it might be part of how they are to fulfill their purpose. Another story I want to share with you is, how many of you guys remember being, I'm going to date myself because middle school for me was junior high school, 7th grade, but going into the cafeteria when you're in junior high school and you're thinking you're all that, and you really see the lunch ladies day after day after day after day. And some of them are so sweet, and they want to make sure you got enough to eat. And you know, if you needed more milk, and, you know, if you wanted more bread, but there's some of those lunch ladies that have been there for decades, and they really feel that their purpose is to make sure that the children that are being educated at that particular school is getting the best nourishment that they possibly can. I even heard a lunch lady when I was doing some school nursing for high school says that it is my joy to come here and prepare these meals for these kids, even though half the time they don't appreciate it. It's my joy because I know that I am here to make sure the children at this school get fed well. So if something is bringing you that heartfelt feeling, if it's opening up your heart and you feel just this real sensational, happy feeling within your heart when you're doing something, whether it's cutting the onion, or I'm going to say cutting the carrot, washing your car, playing with your dog, spending time with your kids, playing cards with your husband, or, you know, having a nice conversation with your significant other, or finding out a new invention that could save the world. Whatever it is so important for you to go out and discover and try as many things as possible so that you can find your purpose if you have not already know that. And here's the other thing I want to share with you. Just because you are living your purpose does not mean that you can't make profit from living your purpose. If you are destined to be an entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur already and you've found your passion and you're living your purpose and you're passionate about fulfilling your purpose, then that's what you're meaning to do. And it's nothing wrong with taking your purpose and making a profit, or allowing profit to come into your life, allowing prosperity and abundance to come into your life. And if you're a person that just likes to volunteer and help our women veterans, or, you know, all the dogs that are, you know, now being abandoned after COVID, or just making sure that you're that grandma in the neighborhood that makes sure the kids get to the bus stop every morning, okay, whatever it is, if that brings warmth and happy feelings to you, then go ahead, do it. Because again, that might be the importance of what you're doing with regards to finding and fulfilling your purpose. Now, 7 keys to finding your purpose. The first thing is, I would say you need to search inward. And of course, even though I say I'm 29 over and over again, I'm way beyond 29. But the journey for me finding my purpose was realizing that not one thing I did was my purpose, but it was a combination of lots of things I did as I've been traveling down my path to bliss. And when I stop and I meditate every day, I do several meditations. I do traditional meditation, and then I do a journaling meditation. It is in those moments where I'm meditating, whether it's my traditional meditation or journaling meditation, that I'm able to explore what's inside of me at that moment in time. And I can look at what's inside of me and say, okay, this is what I'm meant to do, or this is not what I'm meant to do. So the search, or the key, one of the first keys to finding your purpose, is to search inward. And when I say search inward, I mean, look at what brings to you your heart and your soul happiness and those feelings of ecstasy and just wonderment beyond what you've ever experienced or beyond what you're experiencing now. Tip number 2, think about what brings you joy. You know what I love? What brings me joy? One of the things, and this is so funny, I love little kids. For some reason, children love me. And it's funny because when I was a teenager, you know how all the girls would babysit? I couldn't stand kids. I couldn't stand little kids. I didn't want kids. But always, little kids have always loved me, and they would clamor around me, even though I didn't want to be bothered with them, but I would play with them and stuff. And I love the innocence of being with children. Children under the 5 and under are the most truthful children, that most truthful humans that you will encounter, because they haven't been taught that formalized education of what not to say or what's not appropriate, or you should always be nice, even though you don't feel like being nice sometimes. So what brings me joy is having conversations with little children. And I learned some amazing things. I learned how they think about life, how they see life. It takes me back to when I was a little girl and thought I was a princess, a queen in training. And it just brings to me those feelings of joy within. So I love spending time with little children. Of course, I love taking care of my patients. When I worked as an emergency room trauma nurse, that brought me joy to know that I was doing something to help someone have life or sustain life or get their life back, so to speak. And it made me feel happy. It just made me feel happy. There was someone had asked me, when you work in the emergency department and you're doing trauma, when you leave in the morning, how do you feel? I said, absolutely peaceful and absolutely joyful, because I know that I've done the best that I could for my patients that I had responsibilities for that night. And sometimes some people don't make it because their calling is time for them to go. But for the most part, it's beautiful when you see somebody that is coming in being resuscitated, and we go to work and they're able to get their life back, so to speak, and go on and go up to the ICU or whatever, and then eventually leave the hospital and come back and thank you for doing something that you love. That's the things that bring me joy. Tip number 3, surround yourself with positive people. It is imperative that you surround yourself with positive people. If you are around people that are naysayers, or they see the cup half full they see the cup half empty instead of half full, or they see it's a partly cloudy day instead of a partly sunny day. If they're always the Debby downers, like you start telling them about stuff that you love doing and how good your day was, and they say, yeah, but on the way home, there's a lot of traffic, blah, 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 blah. We all have them in our family. And we all have them around us. I say minimize your time with them as much as possible, because you want to be in a state of uplifted energy that harmonizes with your dosha, Ayurveda talk, but that harmonizes and balances your mind and your body dosha. The more you can surround yourself with positive people, the more that positive energy is reflected onto you as you reflect your energy onto them. And it creates this big synergy. I want to say like the sun, this big ball of energy, positive energy. And when this big ball of positive energy moves about, that's when we have transformative things happen in our lives, in our towns and cities, in our states and our countries, and around the world. So surround yourself with positive people that lift you up, and sometimes lift you up even when you can't, or you don't have the energy to lift you up. And once you have those people in your life, you will be, I don't want to say addicted, but you will be craving that positive energy as they will be craving yours. Tip number 4, explore your interests. There are a lot of things that people want to do, but sometimes fear keeps them from doing that. Don't allow fear to stop you from exploring your interests. If you have an interest to climb Mount Everest, explore that. If you have an interest to sit and make bibs for the babies in the homeless shelter, explore that. If you have an interest to clean up the garbage around your neighborhood or around your community, and that makes you feel happy as you walk around and you see your communities getting cleaned up, explore that interest. If you want to be an airplane mechanic and that brings you joy in tinkering with mechanical things, no matter what gender you are, who you are, explore those interests, because the reason why those are coming up within you or coming into your life is because it's something that you need to pay attention to. It's something that I want to say, it's like a clue. It's like a clue. When you play Trivia Pursuit, you have clues. It's like a clue. And then these clues will continue to show up on your path and show up in your life. And once you begin to pay attention and explore these clues of what's being invited or invoked into your life, you may just discover that what you thought you were doing that you love is actually not your purpose, but what's showing up in your life constantly and consistently is leading you to your purpose. Tip number 5, discover your true needs. Living with joy and finding your purpose is not about making other people feel good. This is all about being selfish for yourself. You see, on the airplane when they say put on the oxygen mask before you put someone else's on, because if you don't put yours on, you can't help the other person. And so if you're constantly trying to fulfill and think that the needs of others is what is really where your joy or your purpose lives, then you'll be in a sad state. Take the time to discover what you need in your body and in your mind. If you pay attention, if you spend a little time meditating, and you don't have to do it like me, like I do, 2 to 3 minutes, you will discover and things will open up for you that really, really will bring an awakening to you as to what your true needs are. Then go out and experiment with what comes to you as far as what your divine messenger during your meditative session is sharing with you as to what your true needs are. Fulfilling those true needs and stepping into your purpose is what you are here to do. So don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed that you might be exploring something else that other people have expectations of you not to explore. You need to put yourself first so that you can take care of the needs of others after you've taken care of the needs of yourself. Tip number 6, consider injustices that bother you. We've had a lot of things that have been going on since forever, but I want to say, particularly for us women, that really came to light in 2019. And as those things were coming about with the women, the Me Too movement, I realized that a lot of those injustices that they were talking about were things that I experienced in the 80s, but I didn't have a voice. Who cared about what was happening to women back then? It's not like it is today. And those injustices that were happening led me to create the Brave, Bold, and Unstoppable Women's Summits with the goal of bringing women together around the world in unity, harmony, spirit, collaboration, and strength so that we can be the change agents to change the world. So consider the injustice that bother you, whether, it's the migrant housing or, the whole sex trade thing that is happening right under the guise of our eyes, or the fentanyl or opioid addictions that are going on, or whether you just want to make sure that the seniors in your neighborhood are making sure they're eating well. Whatever is bothering you, consider, and it's really, really speaking to your heart and soul, consider that might be something that is your purpose, and you need to explore that a little bit further. Tip number 7, discover what you love to do that resonates with your heart and soul. So this one is a goodie because this one really does lead to those true feelings of ecstasy and that orgasmic energy that has the power to transform lives. So discovering what you love to do that resonates with your heart and soul. There are times that I love to just take a Saturday and line up all the books I have and just start reading through the books, or to take a Saturday. This happens very rare, but to take a Saturday and turn on Turner Classic Movie, because I love the acting of those old classic movies. And I feel that they were really exuding the passion of whatever their character was. Particularly, I like gangster movies. So, but I like old movies, but that is something that resonates with my heart and soul. I don't get to do it very often, and I don't do it very often because I do other things. But whatever it is that you love to do that resonates with your heart and soul, go out and do it. Don't be afraid. And then the last thing I want to share with you is this. I like going to the gym. Now, everybody doesn't like that, and I've been doing it for 30 plus years, going to the gym 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. I love doing that because it resonates with my heart and soul. It allows me to open up the creativity in my mind because I'm uninhibited. And it makes my body look pretty good, keeps me looking healthy and young, and keeps my body harmonizing in an energetic and harmonistic flow. So if there's something you love to do that resonates with your heart and soul, do it. Don't be afraid. You never know that if you have you love for going to the gym, you never know it. You might be meant to be a personal trainer or to be an owner of a gym or have a string of gyms that you're running and as you're part of your business empire. Finding plus living your purpose equals joy. I think I've shared a numerous amount of stories with regards to how important this is and why finding and living your purpose equals joy. I want to share this story with you real quick. There was a lady who was a really good seamstress, and this was back in the day. And when I say back in the day, it was like a couple centuries ago. She's a really good seamstress, and she was a seamstress for the queen. However, she didn't live in court. She lived in the village. And the queen came to her one day and asked her to come live at the court and make her all her clothing. And the lady, instead of having a happy face, she had a sad face. And the queen asked her, "Why are you so sad?" And she says, "Because my purpose is to not only sew clothing for you, madam, but my purpose is to make sure that all the children in the village have something to wear. So when I get the money from you, I pay my expenses and I take care of my household. But anything that's left over, I buy material because there's so many children around here that don't have clothes to wear. And when I make these clothing for them, that lights up my heart and soul." So the queen said, "Okay, I can't take you away from what you do, but I'm going to make sure that you have the best facilities possible so that not only you can continue to make my clothing, but you can also continue to clothe the children in the village." I thought that was just like a beautiful story. And so again, this lady she had found her purpose. She knew she was a great seamstress, and she was she wanted to remain living her purpose because she felt, even though she was a great seamstress and she had that highfalutin position to make clothing for the queen, her purpose really was to make clothing so that the children in the village didn't have to go without clothing. So I always love that story. Nourish your soul, live your purpose, and be filled with joy. When you nourish your soul, when you step into living your purpose, when you step into really claiming and owning your purpose, you will be filled with joy. Nourishing our soul, so much is focused on the mind and the body, and we forget the spirit and we forget the soul. But when you nourish your soul, oh my gosh, when you nourish your soul, it's just the most amazing feeling. Again, I'm going to take it back to when you see a baby born, that nourishes your soul. When you plant a seed in the ground and that seed buds into a beautiful jasmine plant or a beautiful lavender or rosemary, whatever, to me, that's something that nourishes my soul. When I see a baby bird fly from the nest for the very first time, that's something that nourishes my soul. When I'm able to make an elderly person smile or to be able to give a little kid a hug that's filled with tears, that's something that nourishes my soul. So always, always make a point in your day to nourish and feed your soul, because that will help you to step into living your purpose and you'll be filled with joy. Okay, did I talk too much, ladies? Because I think it's question and answer time, but this is just such a beautiful topic to discuss and to share. And I just want everybody that leaves today after seeing this to be like, because Rochel Marie, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, said I should. So, all right, let me calm down.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rochel Marie. I could feel your soul in that. And I was, yeah, no, and all of it. And it's just such a beautiful reminder for us to listen. Like, that's what I kept hearing, to listen and pay attention to what moves us, and then have the courage to follow that, right?
Yes, for sure. I wanted to include that for those that may be watching, if something gives you clarity, that might be part of your purpose. If you feel gratified by doing something, that may be an aspect of your purpose. If it enables you to live a life based on value, essence, and love, then that might be something that fulfills your purpose. If it makes you live with longevity, like the elderly patient I had, then that might be something that you might think about as your purpose. If it encourages you to trust and not have fear as you go along your journey to discovery, that might be something that nourishes your soul and might be part of your purpose. If it helps you to find a flaw in your life that you can correct and move forward with grace and ease, that might be your purpose, because you might need to share that with somebody. And if it makes life more fun for you, then go ahead and do it, because that might be your purpose as well.
Love it. And you touched on actually some of our recipe of joy, which really is about positive impact and having fun, really the recipe for joy. So I love that you've touched on that and the importance of that. So we're opening this up to anyone that has questions in the audience. Anything specific for Rochel that you might want to, or any commentary from anyone? I know someone earlier asked about what movie you were referring to when you were talking about the Chris Rock.
Okay.
And you're like, that's the one thing I don't know.
Dang, I can't remember the movie, but I know I know it's on Tubi. You can find it on Tubi for sure, because I just saw it the other day. Oh, I'm sure after this it'll come to me and I'll be like, oh, it's this. But right now it evades me. Sorry. But it was earlier in his career. You'll love it. It's a great movie.
Well, you went to junior high instead of middle school, so I understand why you don't remember.
Well, yes. And the other one is the wonderful, It's a Wonderful Life. That movie right there, that you could start with that, because that is all about what we're talking about today. Someone that didn't feel that their life was valuable and that they weren't living their purpose. And then they realized that exactly what they were doing was their purpose, and their life was very valuable, and it made that person be filled with joy. Jimmy Stewart, yes.
Well, so I'll just ask a question. What would you say to someone who knows that they're passionate about something and could feel, but either is scared because they're afraid maybe they're not going to make money off of it, or that people are going to judge them or whatever, but it's that thing inside? Any advice for someone that might be in that place?
I would say, the queen of feeling fabulous, I would say to step in and be the courageous queen or king that you are. You cannot live a life filled with passion and joy and purpose if you're living for someone else's expectations of what you're doing. Everyone faces fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But in order to live a life filled with joy, purpose, and passion, you have to overcome those obstacles. And to put it quite honestly, you have to have a mindset as to, I really don't care what you think about what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do because I've got to live my life for me. So I would say just what I said.
Yeah. It's interesting. So many people don't take risks because they're afraid of the failure, but then they spend a lifetime feeling unfulfilled and discontent because they didn't ultimately align with their purpose and what they're here to do. And it's like really taking that leap.
Yes. You don't want to be that person. You never know when that moment's going to come. We never know when our number is up, so to speak. And because I lived in that world, it's very important. You don't want to be that person on your deathbed wishing you would have did this, that, or the other, and feeling sorry for yourself or really upset because you were living your life based on what other people thought you should be doing and things that didn't make you happy. I'm going to share this with you. There was a gentleman in Silicon Valley that owned one of the major corporations. And I had the pleasure of having this gentleman as my patient. And he said, you know what? I lived a great life, but if I was to do it all over again, I would do something that brought me joy to my heart. He goes, I'm good in what I'm doing, but if I was to do it all over again, I wouldn't do something because I was good at it. I would do something that brought passion and joy to my heart. He said, now, what I'm doing brings me joy, but when I'm talking about the joy that I want to experience, that I would have been having, if I did what I was passionate about or wanted to do without the expectations of failing others, I would probably not have a terminal illness, and I would continue living a very joyful life with lots of longevity. So don't be that person on your deathbed wishing that you would have done something. Go out and do it. If it brings joy to your heart, if it makes you have that ecstasy kind of feeling all tingly inside, like when you had that first kiss or whatever with your boyfriend or girlfriend, then go ahead and do it, because at the end, you're going to want to be able to say, I checked this off. I did this. This brought me joy, instead of I wish I would have. So.
Rochel Marie, I know that you may have touched on it a little bit, but I don't know if others were thinking this, but I have noticed in my own life that what brings me joy changes over time. So things that I did, in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s did bring me joy, but they have changed over time. And what now brings me joy is very different than what might have brought me joy 20 years ago. I, in the beginning, was thinking, oh, I should have. If I had done this earlier, if I had changed course. But in the work that I've been doing for the past 4 years, I've come to realize that timing is everything. And a lot of things can be purposeful and bring you joy. And it's good to be able to be in the moment and know for that moment, this is what brings you joy. Do you also believe that? Have you found that in your own life or in those that you work with?
Yes, I did share, as we travel down our path to bliss, there are these instances where we're doing something and we believe that it's our purpose and it brings us joy. And like you said, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, those things change. They change as we evolve, they change. But each and every essence of that moment, or I want to say that decade where we thought we were doing our purpose and it was bringing us joy, brings us to this moment here today to say, we've done all of this. And this is me right now, is the culmination of all these beautiful things that I've done that brought me joy. And it was my purpose at one time or another. But it allows me to be here today to share this wisdom with you. Had I not had those purposes in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, there's no way that I would be able to stand right here or be right here and share with you that I'm actually living my purpose and my life is filled with joy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love it. Love it.
There is a question about someone who speaks with her elderly mom every night, and she's a very negative person. And of course, this person is Karen Rook, and she tries very much to encourage her with positive thoughts. But how do I deal with everything that's so negative? What are some of the things she could do to change that narrative and that conversation with her mom, her elderly mom?
Well, I have people like that in my life too. And I'm a person that always sees the cup half full. I see it partly sunny instead of cloudy, but I do love the rain and the clouds. But I have a similar situation with people in my family. And as soon as they start talking about, I can say, oh, it's a sunny day, or, California got a lot of rain. We need that rain for the drought. They'd be like, oh yeah, but my backyard's flooded and my pool's up, it's like, okay, but you know what? 2 years ago, you didn't have any water for that grass, and your pool was you kept having to put water into the pool. So be thankful. But I always I let them say what they have to say, because if you don't, they'll keep going back to it. So you got to let them have to say what they have to say, and then repeat what they said in a positive manner back to them. And sometimes that will trigger them to realize, because if you say, why are you always negative? That just perpetuates, an argument, or I'm not negative, whatever. So just allow them to, can you tell I have some experience with this? Just allow them to say it, and then just repeat back what they said to them in a positive manner. And the more you do that, you'll begin to see, when you start having conversations with them, they'll be a little bit less negative. It may take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but you will see the changes. And when you do start realizing, you'll be like, yeah, moment of joy, ecstasy inside, because this conversation didn't go as negative as all the other ones normally be. And that's what you have to do. Trust me, it takes time, it works, but you just have to be diligent and smile and know that you can help them to see a positive perspective in life.
That's great advice, the reflection back to allow someone to see. So Karen has a question. I think this will be the last question because we are rounding out the hour right now. So you get in. Hey, Karen. Ask to unmute. I think I just pressed that.
So first of all, I want to thank you for your very, very positive presentation.
Thank you.
I feel like I have found my purpose in life. I am a storyteller, and I'm going to be the joy expert next week. So storytelling brings me a tremendous amount of joy and purpose. I have a question to ask, and I also have a reflection to share. So my question to ask is, how do you deal with people who say, I need to make a living, and I can't do the thing that brings me the most joy as much as I'd like to, because I have to be able to pay for my living expenses. And that thing that brings me joy is a time consumer. That is a statement that I hear frequently from people in my circle. People say, I just, I can't do it. I can't do my joy. So how do you respond to that?
So I say, you absolutely can do your joy. You may not be able to do it full time, but you absolutely can have aspects of your joy and do that every day of your life. The more you do something, it's like the more you exercise that muscle, the more possibilities and potentials open up for you. If you keep an open mindset and say, I like, I'm a glass maker or whatever on the side, but, my real job is, being a secretary to the CEO of a company or whatever, that pays the bills, but doing the glasses fun. Do that a little bit every day. You don't have to dive in head first. You can do little aspects of whatever it is to bring you joy. And the more you do that, and the more you share what brings you joy with others, you never know what unlimited possibilities will open up for you. But if you have that closed mindset that you can't do it because you need to pay the bills, then guess what? You won't do it. And those unlimited possibilities and opportunities will not show up in your life, because as we all know, the divine brings things into our life when we're ready to accept them. And the more we deny it, the louder those things may get, until finally it's like, all right, you're not ready to accept it. I'm going to table this out for another 10 years. So just do a little bit at a time and you'll see, but share what brings you joy. And you never know who may be that person that has a company that wants to buy whatever product or whatever you're doing, because you shared it with them and can completely transform your life.
Okay, we got less than a minute. We're already over time. Go ahead, Karen. And then I want Rochel to share how everyone can connect with her. Go ahead, Karen.
I just wanted to thank you. That's a statement that I frequently hear from people, that they don't have time to share. They don't have time to pursue their passion or their joy. And I really loved your response. I just wanted to say one other quick thing, and that is that I'm really fortunate that I'm able to pursue my joy and do the thing that I really love to do in my life. But I will say that I come from a family which is very science oriented. My parents were both doctors. And I think that if my father had not passed away when I was in my early 20s, I probably would not have been able to pursue my joy in the same time frame, because the message in my family was so clear. Either you pursue medicine or the sciences, or basically you're wasting your life. So I just, I want to say that I think in some families that message is so hard to deal with. Anyway, that it's a hard thing to hear when you have a very strong family influence about the direction your life ought to head. So anyway, I'll stop.
I agree with you. And to people, once again, I'm going to say, you have to live your life for you. And you have to let go of the expectations of what others have placed upon you, because you will not have a joyful life. And I know it's hard to do because, Our families do place expectations on us. But when you get the courage to do what you are meant to do, they eventually will see that that brings you joy and happiness. And they'll see the radiance every time you see them. They'll see it in your face. And they'll know that what you're doing is what you're meant to be doing. And they'll eventually accept it. Yeah, but they still may be talking about, you should have went to medical school. But I'm glad you're this like fabulous candle maker that's making these holistic candles that's changing the world or whatever, So yeah.
They come around. When you love your children, you want to see them filled with joy. And sometimes it takes a lot of pushing and pulling and prodding, but when they see it, the defenses, hopefully, eventually.
And when all else fails, I say get some research behind whatever you're trying to say. I am a researcher. And if you've got research showing how important joy is in life, and there is tons of it. And by the way, anyone on here, if you need it, you just holler and let me know and I'll get it to you. There's a lot of research discussion about why it is so important that we build our joy muscles. It is what absolutely is what we're here for and why we should be here. And it's all about humankind being filled with kind humans. And when you build that joy, that's exactly what happens.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. 145%.
Awesome.
Rochel, I want to thank everyone for being here. And I know Shari's going to close us out.
No, I just wanted Rochel to be able to share with us how people can connect directly with you if they want to follow you, the whole.
Let's see if I can bring up. Okay, so can everyone see this? This is my contact information. You can email me at Rochel Marie at blissfulliving4u.com. You can check out my site, blissfulliving4u.com. There's my phone number if you want to call me. And definitely follow me on social media. I'm on all LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, of course. And there's some videos out on TikTok and all that. But if you want to find me, you will find me. And if not, if all else fails, Google me. And I guarantee something about me will pop up. Hopefully really good, but something about how you can connect with me will be available to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rochel Marie, for giving us of your time, your heart, your spirit, your love, your purpose, your kindness, all of it. And thank all of you for being here today and giving of yourselves and your time to build your joy muscle. We hope to see you in the Year of Joy community. Again, the link is in the comments. And thank you, Debbie. Any last words you want to say?
Thank you so much and look forward to seeing all of you on a next live event. And by all means, make sure you check out Karen Golden as she'll be talking about storytelling, which I love. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your grace.